All right, in today's video, we're gonna cover how our system works and how it books us anywhere from 3 up to 7 calls per day, so you can have a stack calendar like this one. But before we cover that, let's first cover who I am and why you should even listen to me, right? My name is Dusan and I've been selling and advertising online since 2019. I'm also co-founder of FD, which is education and talent sourcing company. I'm also co-owner of One Nightclub, and I'm also co-owner of DigiCon, which is a conference brand, and I'm also co-owner of Scaling Rapidly, which is an agency and consulting company. As you can clearly see, I've been fortunate enough to do some very cool things, and also something that's very interesting is that I do have a marketing degree. So now that we've covered this and that I've kind of show you some of my results and proof, let's cover how our system works and how it books us 3 to 7 calls per day. This system pretty much works for any kind of funnel. So if you're using any kind of a social media or any type of group where you have like chat, where you can send messages to people, this system will work, right? So I've provided you here with two, I would say the best funnels that you can run for any kind of a coaching / info offer or agency service. So any kind of a high ticket offer. Obviously, when you're doing sales, you can do it either via video or in person or via messages, right? So here I'm going to cover the whole funnel and whole system, how it works from generating attention / traffic up until the end, where we have a Zoom or online call, and then we collect cash or close a client, right? So doesn't really matter which type of social media and funnel you're using, whether it's Instagram or LinkedIn, or you're using group funnel where you're sending traffic directly to a group, the process is the same. So we want to leverage appointment setters, and not only appointment setters, but I call them growth operators, because we are going to cover that in a minute, but we want people who are actually experts and they know how to sell, they understand psychology, and they can really do the job when it comes to warming up prospects. So let's first start with IG funnel. As you can see, first we need to generate traffic. So we have our top of the funnel where we need some eyeballs on our offer in order to in order for someone to be able to purchase it, right? So we are kind of building an audience there. So we can do that either through content or paid ads or other channel. So how we can bring traffic to our profile, we can post content in form of reels or any kind of short form content. We can run paid ads, or we can redirect traffic from other channels such as, I know, LinkedIn or YouTube, stuff like that, right? Then they'll either going to become a follower if our profile is optimized in a proper manner, which we're going to cover right now. So first is traffic. We want to bring traffic to our optimized profile where they're going to be presented with offer. So it looks like this. So prospect lands on our social media profile. If the profile is optimized, we are either going to get a follower or we are going to spark any kind of interest where they're going to either, as I said, follow us, or they're going to be redirected to other channels such as YouTube, our website, or our school group, or any kind of group that we have. So if that happens and we've done our homework here, we are ready to enter into the next stage. So when they become follower, obviously, as you can clearly see here, the audience is cold, that's why it's blue. And here it's kind of starting to warm up a little bit, so it's yellow now. We are warming them up with retargeting ads, with stories, sequences, and we continue to post content, right? If we've done our job properly, we are going to have a call to action where they are going to either show some kind of engagement or they're going to reach out to us. So we have two types of leads, either those that come inbound to us or those that are showing any kind of interest that we are going to perform outbound to. So we are going to reach out to them, but they've shown an interest by visiting our stories, liking or commenting, or maybe they've opted for our lead magnet. So that this is an inbound lead, this is an inbound DM, and this is also inbound when they reply to our story. But we can also reach out outbound to them if we see that they're constantly seeing our stories or they're engaging with some of our posts, right? So when that happens, it's very important to have a proven appointment setting process in place and have your setters dialed in and ready to close those people and to book them in for a call. So this is how our appointment setting process works. And this is why you need to have appointment setters from Eastern Europe in place. We're going to cover that in a minute, where they're going to reach out to those people. We have opener message, then they're going to have a conversation with those people. They'll need to understand their current and their desired situation. Then they're going to be pitched. So when we understand their situation and we know that we can help those guys, that we have an offer that can change their life, it's our obligation to pitch them that, to hop on a call with us, or to pay in full via DMs, which is also something that happens. I know it sounds crazy to some of you, but it does happen. And then, yeah, we have a post-booking strategy to ensure that they're actually going to show up on a call, right? When we manage to book them in for a call, we kind of handle that inside our DMs. And yeah, we go for a close on a call. And the thing is, those prospects are going to be warmed up and ready to purchase your solution, right? Because if the setter is good and they know what they're doing, they're going to warm up those leads through some mechanisms, such as understanding their situation, positioning properly, sending them trust assets depending on their situation. So you need to kind of have a lot of different trust assets that's going to warm them up and enable you to close people and have like higher close rate and easier sales calls, right? Same situation is here on LinkedIn. We want to generate content. We want to generate attention through content, comment on other people's posts. We can also run paid ads here. We can send outbound connection requests to our ICP. And then we want to have an optimized profile with a clear headshot, with our offer, with good banner. Everything needs to be professional. And if they see your optimized profile and you've done your homework when it comes to defining your ICP and offer, they're going to accept you as a friend. And we want to warm them up after that. So we're going to see post engagements, or they're going to be visiting your profile, and you want to leverage that, right? Not you, but your setters, right? So since they are warming up a little bit, they're going to be redirected to your school, to your YouTube, to your website, and they'll know pretty much a lot of stuff about you, and they'll be warmed up pretty much and ready to be reached out to. And we want to do that. So our setters will perform the same setting process that we've kind of covered here, and we're going to book them in for a call. Simple as that. So these funnels, even though the social media is completely different, they pretty much work the same. Because the principles are the same, and it just comes down to human psychology and being good at sales and defining that sales process in a proper manner. And I wanted to really highlight something very important, and that's why you actually need setters from Eastern Europe. So these are secret sauce, and I'm going to explain you right now why do you need them, right? A lot of business owners make mistake here because they think that just by having a good understanding of sales and having a good sales process and appointment setting process in place is enough, and that pretty much anyone can do that. I think that is completely unreasonable, and it can be further from the truth. And here's why. First of all, we need to understand why we need setters, right? There was a very good time a few years ago when you could just run ads directly to VSL and you would get crazy ROAS. People would book call immediately and purchase your solution, but we're in trust recession right now, and people are more skeptical than ever. So they don't want to purchase your solution straight away. You need to build a relationship with them, especially in today's age where everything is pretty much done by AI. Human connection has become more important than ever. So also on top of that, the cost of advertising is rising, right? And those funnels that previously worked wonders don't cut it anymore. So you can see the ad spend is increasing ridiculously, and this is the report from 2022. If you were to see where it's right now in 2025, it would probably be something like something right here, right? So it's kind of expensive. We understand that. And when it comes to Serbia and Eastern Europe, English proficiency here is very high. We are ranked like 24 in the world, and that's very important, because if you were to outsource your appointment setting to some random third world countries, such as, I don't know, Philippines, India, stuff like that, those people don't really understand American culture well. And even though they might speak like solid English, They still don't follow the trends. They don't really know how people from US think, and they can't really position themselves properly and represent the business owner in a proper manner. But comparing that to people from Eastern Europe, people there basically grow up watching American TV shows, following trends, and they not only speak perfect English, but also have that mindset. They think like a native American native speaker, and they can position themselves properly, and they can do the selling, they can form those relationships. So that's why it's important to have native speaker, or if not native, having a speaker from countries like these. And right now we need to cover why having a strictly native speaker is a problem. An average monthly salary in US is around 5K, and in Serbia is just 1K, believe it or not, right? And it's more than 5x difference when you compare these two numbers. So let's say you are paying your setter on a percentage. Obviously, that's a standard, industry standard. Your setter could make, let's say, 3K in that month. Let's say they're from US. They would probably barely afford the rent with those 3K, right? So obviously they aren't going to be that motivated. You won't be able to hire A players who can think for themselves, who can really solve problems without bothering you constantly. And that's why people from Eastern Europe stand out, because if you were to give a person from Eastern Europe 3K, can you imagine how motivated they would be? Because they'd be making pretty much the same salary as a doctor, or even more than a doctor. And the amount of hunger that they would be having is enormous, and can't even compare to the amount of hunger that a native speaker would have. So I hope that kind of presents you with a proper reason why Eastern European setters are secret sauce and why they're crushing. And I've noticed this in pretty much high ticket industry. A lot of US companies are hiring right now people from Eastern Europe because they're hungry, they're motivated, they speak like a native, and also they can think and have high social intelligence when they speak with US people. So they can sell, they can position properly with authority, and they would be very happy to earn 2 to 3K per month. And that was a quick rundown of how two of our funnels work, and how ultimately our Eastern European setters book us anywhere from 3 up to 7 calls per day, so we can scale without losing our minds, right? Now, if you're even remotely interested in something like this, and maybe you've tried something before, you're fed up with either third world country speakers who just can't really form those relationships, can't think for themselves, just copy paste messages, or even you've maybe tried native speakers, but they churn after 2 months because they can't really make a living with those commissions. Or maybe you've tried AI, but trust me, AI is not there yet. It can't really form those relationships. It can't really warm up leads and adjust to every situation that might occur. We would be the right solution for you then. If you try those things, you're not satisfied, Eastern European setters are the best option on the market right now in 2025. And some of the big industry leaders are already capitalizing on this opportunity. So as I said, the link will be below to my website. You'll have an option to book a call there, and see you on the other side.